All India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning. I'm Sunil Verma and with me is V. Ravi Kumar. The headlines. Centre asks 7 states and Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir to step up containment measures to prevent spread of Delta Plus variant of Corona. More than 31.43 crore doses of COVID vaccine administered in the country so far. Recovery rate improves to 96.7%. Supreme Court panel says Delhi government inflated oxygen demand 4 times during peak of second wave of COVID-19. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to share his thoughts in Mann Ki Baat program at 11 a.m. tomorrow. Government extends deadline for linking of PAN with Aadhaar till 30th of September. Government launches e-filing portal of Income Tax Appellate Tribunal, ITAT e-Dwar. DRDO successfully test fires enhanced Pinaka rocket off Odisha coast. Pakistan continues to be on grey list of anti-terror financial watchdog FATF. Simona Halep of Romania withdraws from this year's Wimbledon tennis due to calf injury. And in Eurocup football, Wales to take on Denmark in opening match of knockout stage today. As the nation gears up for free COVID-19 vaccination campaign at government facilities for those above 18 years, we advise our listeners to get vaccinated. We also advise our listeners not to lower their guard as COVID-19 remains a threat to our health. Please stay at home unless it is essential to go out and continue to follow 4 simple steps. Wear a face mask. Maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing. Focus on hand and face hygiene and get vaccinated. For any COVID-related information and guidance, contact national helpline numbers 011-2397-8046 and 1075. And now the news. The Health Secretary, Rajesh Bhushan, has written to the Chief Secretaries of Tamil Nadu, Gujarat, Andhra Pradesh, Rajasthan, Karnataka, Punjab, Jammu and Kashmir and Haryana to step up containment and contact tracing as measures to prevent the spread of Delta Plus variant. They have been asked to take up immediate containment measures in affected districts and clusters, including preventing crowds and intermingling of people, widespread testing, prompt tracing as well as vaccine coverage on a priority basis. The Secretary has told them to ensure that adequate samples of positive persons are sent to the designated laboratories promptly so that the clinical epidemiological correlations can be established. The Health Ministry has said that continuous decline in daily cases of COVID-19 and further improvement in recovery from infection is being noticed in the country. Addressing media in New Delhi last evening, Joint Secretary in the Health Ministry, Love Agrawal, said that continuous decline in daily cases being noticed since India reported a peak with nearly 4,14,000 cases on the 7th of May. He said now almost 88% decline in such cases has been seen since the highest reported peak in daily new cases. He informed only 51,666 cases of corona infection were reported in the last 24 hours.
ओवरऑल केस का जो कंटेनमेंट है इन्फेक्शन वह लिमिटेड टेरिटरीज में ही नोट किया जा रहा है। एक स्थाई पर जहां पर डेली केसेस रिपोर्टिंग में कमी आई है, दूसरी स्थाई पर एक्टिव केसेस यानी कि वह केसेस जो हमारे हॉस्पिटल या होम आइसोलेशन में जिनको हम मॉनिटर कर रहे हैं, उसमें भी 37,45,000 जो अधिकतम केसेस देश में 10 मई वाले समय पर हमने नोट किए थे, वह घटते घटते अब 6,12,000 केसेस देश में रह गए हैं।
Mr. Agrawal says that till the 4th of May, 531 districts in the country were reporting over 100 cases daily. Now the number of such districts has come down to 125. He said till the 10th of May, there were over 37 lakh active cases in the country, and after continuous decline, it has now come down to 6.13 lakh, which is a decline of 83%. Mr. Agrawal said that the country is also witnessing a consistent increase in recovery rate. He said, from the 81.8% on the 3rd of May, the overall recovery rate has improved to 96.7%. Mr. Agrawal also appealed to the people not to lower their guard against the virus and follow COVID-appropriate behavior strictly. National Centre for Disease Control NCDC Director Sujit Kumar Singh has informed that as of now 48 cases of Delta Plus variant were detected across the country. During the media briefing, Dr. Singh said that these variants were found from 45,000 samples which were sequenced. He said these variants were found in 10 states and in UT, namely Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Punjab, Gujarat, Kerala, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Odisha, Rajasthan, Jammu and Kashmir and Karnataka. He said Delta Plus variant signifies Delta variant with an additional mutation.
क्योंकि डेल्टा वेरिएंट ऑलरेडी वेरिएंट ऑफ कंसर्न है, इसलिए इसके सब लीनिएज को भी वेरिएंट ऑफ कंसर्न ही कहा जाएगा। कोई भी एडिशनल म्यूटेशन जो डेल्टा वेरिएंट में है, उसको एक प्लस के साइन से डिनोट किया जाता है। इसमें कोई ऐसी बात नहीं है कि प्लस का मतलब कोई ज्यादा तीव्रता से ट्रांसमिशन बढ़ेगा या कोई ज्यादा सीवियर डिजीज करेगा, ऐसा कुछ इसमें ये प्लस नहीं इंगित करता। आज की तारीख हम देखें जहां पूरे विश्व में इसके बहुत ही लिमिटेड नंबर ऑफ केस है, 50 केसेस पूरे हिंदुस्तान में 12 जिलों में पाए गए हैं और इन 50 केसेस से ये भी हमारे 3 पिछले माह में फैले हुए हैं। ये नहीं कह सकते कि किसी भी जिले में, किसी भी राज्य में ये एक हमको बढ़ता हुआ ट्रेंड दे रहे हैं।
During the briefing, ICMR Director General Dr. Balram Bhargav said that the two vaccines, Covishield and Covaxin, work against the alpha, beta, gamma and delta variants of SARS-CoV-2. He said laboratory tests are ongoing to check the vaccine's effect on the Delta Plus variant.
Variants of concern are 4, alpha, beta, gamma and delta, and they are due to increased transmissibility, change in virulence or disease presentation, and evading the diagnostics or drugs or the vaccines. However, variant of interest, which are several epsilons, and they are not necessarily that they will all turn into variant of concern. They are detected in multiple countries. They can be responsible some localized string of infections, and rapidity of spread is not present.
India's cumulative COVID vaccination coverage has crossed 31 crore. So far, over 31.43 crore vaccine doses have been administered in the country. Over 54.48 lakh vaccine doses were administered yesterday. Yesterday, around 36 lakh vaccine doses were administered as first dose and over 77,000 vaccine doses given as second dose in the age group of 18 to 44 years. Cumulatively, over 7.87 crore people across 37 states and union territories have received their first dose and more than 17 lakh have received their second dose since the start of phase 3 of the vaccination drive. Andhra Pradesh, Assam, Bihar, Chhattisgarh, Delhi, Gujarat, Haryana, Jharkhand, Karnataka, Kerala, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu, Telangana, Odisha, Uttar Pradesh and West Bengal have administered the first dose of COVID vaccine to more than 10 lakh beneficiaries in the age group 18 to 44 years. The Supreme Court panel has indicated Delhi government for allegedly inflating the oxygen requirement by 4 times during peak of the second wave of COVID-19. The panel concluded that the Delhi government exaggerated the consumption figure to claim 1,140 metric tons of oxygen. It also said that proactive steps taken by union government during the first wave of COVID helped to quickly enhance oxygen production during the second wave. BJP spokesperson Sambit Patra criticized Delhi government for inflating oxygen demand during the second wave of COVID-19. He said, "It is unbelievable to see that Aam Aadmi Party government was playing politics with oxygen supply when COVID was at its peak."
ऑक्सीजन को लेकर जिस प्रकार की राजनीति दिल्ली सरकार ने किया, उसका पर्दाफाश हुआ। सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने एक ऑक्सीजन ऑडिट पैनल स्थापित किया था और वो पैनल का रिपोर्ट कहता है कि जो ऑक्सीजन की रिक्वायरमेंट दिखाई गई थी अरविंद केजरीवाल जी द्वारा, वो 4 गुना बढ़ा करके दिखाई गई थी। 12 ऐसे राज्य थे पूरे हिंदुस्तान में जो अफेक्टेड हुए अपने ऑक्सीजन सप्लाई को लेकर, क्योंकि सब जगह से ऑक्सीजन काट करके दिल्ली भेजना पड़ा। ये जघन्य अपराध अरविंद केजरीवाल जी ने किया है।
Maharashtra government has issued new guidelines about the level of restrictions in the state and made it clear that now there will be only 3 levels instead of 5. More from our correspondent.
As per new guidelines, under Level 3 restrictions, essential shops and establishments can remain open till 4 p.m. on all days in areas falling under Level 3. Non-essential shops and establishments can remain open till 4 p.m. on weekdays. Restaurants will be allowed dine-in facility with 50% capacity till 4 p.m. on weekdays and takeaways and home deliveries after that. Use of suburban trains will be only for medical staff, personnel engaged in essential services and women. Gyms and salons will remain open till 4 p.m. with 50% capacity. Malls and theatres will remain shut. Government offices will work with 50% capacity, whereas private offices will work till 4 p.m. on all working days. Madhuri Pange, AIR News, Mumbai.
In Odisha, all 30 districts will soon have their medical oxygen supply system, with the Chief Minister Naveen Patnaik laying the foundation stones for oxygen conservation and distribution in 7 more districts yesterday. Oxygen production, storage and supply system in all districts will be ready over the next 2 months. Rajasthan administered more than 10 lakh COVID vaccines in a single day yesterday. The Health Department conducted 4,603 vaccination sessions and administered more than 10,45,000 vaccines. More from our Jaipur correspondent.
According to the data released by the Health Department, more than 9,06,000 people got the first dose, while more than 1,29,000 people got the second dose of vaccine. Maximum 1,09,646 vaccines were administered in Sikar district, while a minimum 6,212 vaccines were administered in Hanumangarh district. Special preparations were made by the Health Department and administration for a large number of vaccinations in a day. Special camps were organized in hundreds of villages. More than 2,36,19,000 vaccines have been administered in the state so far. Jitendra Dwivedi, AIR News, Jaipur.
In Chhattisgarh, more than 82 lakh doses of COVID vaccine have been administered so far. In the last 4 days alone, more than 5,60,000 people were vaccinated in the state. A report from our correspondent.
In Chhattisgarh, about 80% of the people above the age of 45 years have been given the first dose of COVID vaccine. Besides, about 17 lakh youth in the age group of 18 to 44 years have been vaccinated. The first dose of COVID vaccine has been administered to 100% frontline workers and about 91% health workers in the state. Several steps are being taken in the state to motivate people for the vaccination. Selfie zone has been created in vaccination centers at Champa and Janjgir district. Award for best selfie has also been announced. Vikalp Shukla, AIR News, Raipur.
Telangana has crossed the milestone of administering 1 crore vaccine doses yesterday. The state has so far administered 1,533,358 COVID vaccines till last evening across the state. These include over 86 lakh first doses and over 14 lakh second doses. The state health officials administered over 2,05,000 doses yesterday. Our correspondent says the government has been taking steps to administer free vaccines to all eligible people under various categories. State Chief Secretary Somesh Kumar congratulated the health officials and staff for vaccinating over 1 crore people and cut a cake to mark the occasion in Hyderabad last evening.
Britain has reported 35,204 new coronavirus cases of the Delta variant, marking a 46% increase. The total number of confirmed cases of the variant now stands at 1,11,157. The Delta variant now comprises 95% of all sequenced cases. Last week, it made up 99% of new COVID-19 cases across Britain.
You're listening to the morning news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Centre asks 7 states and Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir to step up containment measures to prevent spread of Delta Plus variant of Corona. More than 31.43 crore doses of COVID vaccine administered in the country so far. Recovery rate improves to 96.7%. Supreme Court panel says Delhi government inflated oxygen demand 4 times during peak of second wave in COVID-19. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to share his thoughts in Mann Ki Baat program at 11 a.m. tomorrow. Government extends deadline for linking of PAN with Aadhaar till 30th of September. Government launches e-filing portal of Income Tax Appellate Tribunal ITAT Eidwar. DRDO successfully test fires enhanced Pinaka rocket of Odisha coast. Pakistan continues to be on grey list of anti-terror financial watchdog FATF. Simona Halep of Romania withdraws from this year's Wimbledon tennis due to calf injury. And in Eurocup football, Wales to take on Denmark in the opening match of knockout stage today. For quick news updates around the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle @AIR News Alerts.
The centre is disseminating awareness of national helpline numbers for the benefit of citizens during the COVID-19 pandemic. The helpline number of the Health and Family Welfare Ministry is 1075. The child helpline number is 1098. For senior citizens of Delhi, Karnataka, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu, Telangana, Uttar Pradesh and Uttarakhand, the helpline number is 14567. The helpline number of National Institute of Mental Health and Neurosciences, NIMHANS, for psychological support is 08046110007. Ayush COVID-19 counselling helpline number is 14443 and MyGov WhatsApp help desk number is 9013151515.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will share his thoughts with the people in the country and abroad in the Mann Ki Baat program on All India Radio at 11 a.m. tomorrow. It will be the 78th episode of the monthly radio program. It will be broadcast on the entire network of AIR and Doordarshan and also on AIR News website www.newsonair.com and News on AIR mobile app. It will also be streamed live on the YouTube channels of AIR, DD News, PMO and Information and Broadcasting Ministry. AIR will broadcast the program in regional languages immediately after the Hindi broadcast. The regional language versions will be repeated at 8 in the evening. The government has extended the deadline for linking of PAN with Aadhaar till 30th of September. The Finance Ministry has made it mandatory for every person to quote Aadhaar number in their income tax return and application for allotment of PAN. Minister of State for Finance Anurag Thakur also announced extension till 31st of August for Vivad Se Vishwas payment without interest. He also announced tax exemption for expenditure on COVID-19 treatment and ex gratia received on death due to COVID-19. Mr. Thakur said many taxpayers have received financial help from their employers and well-wishers for meeting their expenses incurred for treatment of COVID-19. He said, in order to ensure that no income tax liability arises on this account, it has been decided to provide income tax exemption to the amount received by a taxpayer for medical treatment from employer or from any person for treatment of COVID-19 during financial year 2019-20 and subsequent years. He said the government has also decided to provide income tax exemption to ex gratia payment received by family members of a person from the employer of such person or from any other person on the death of the person on account of COVID-19 during 2019-20 and subsequent years. The exemption will be allowed without any limit for the amount received from the employer, and the exemption shall be limited to 10 lakh rupees in aggregate for the amount received from any other persons.
President Ramnath Kovind reached Kanpur in Uttar Pradesh on his 5-day visit of the state yesterday. He reached Kanpur Central Railway Station yesterday evening in a special presidential train. Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath and Governor Anandiben Patel welcomed the President and his family at their arrival. During his 5-day tour, the President will visit his birthplace Paronk in Kanpur Dehat district and later he will go to the state capital Lucknow. Today, Mr. Kovind will meet some dignitaries in Kanpur. He will take part in programs scheduled at his birthplace tomorrow. More from our correspondent.
Special presidential train reached Kanpur Central Railway Station at around 7:45 p.m. in evening yesterday. During the journey from Delhi to Kanpur, the special presidential train stopped at Jhinjak and Rurai stations of Kanpur Dehat, where the President interacted with his old acquaintances. President received a grand welcome at these stations. The two stopovers are close to President's birthplace, village Paronk of Kanpur Dehat, where two functions to felicitate him are scheduled tomorrow. On Monday, the President will board the train at Kanpur Central Railway Station to reach Lucknow for his 2-day visit to the state capital. On June 29th, he will return to New Delhi. Sushil Chandra Tiwari, AIR News, Kanpur Dehat.
External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar has reached Greece on a 2-day visit to that country. Dr. Jaishankar was welcomed by his counterpart Nikos Dendias. In a tweet, Dr. Jaishankar said, Greece is an important partner in a broader EU engagement and he looks forward to the formal talks tomorrow. After Greece, the minister will travel to Italy to attend the G20 ministerial meetings.
Law Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad yesterday formally launched the e-filing portal of Income Tax Appellate Tribunal, ITAT e-Dwar. The portal will enable online filing of appeals, applications and documents by various parties. Speaking on the occasion, he explained the power of Digital India, saying it means empowering an ordinary Indian with the power of technology and a framework for transforming India with the power of technology. The micro-blogging site Twitter yesterday denied access to Communications and IT Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad to his own account for almost an hour over the alleged violation of the Digital Millennium Copyright Act of the USA. Mr. Prasad objected to the action, saying it was in gross violation of the Information Technology Intermediary Guidelines and Digital Media Ethics Code Rules 2021, where Twitter failed to provide him any prior notice before denying access to his own account. The minister said that no matter what any platform does, they will have to abide by the new IT rules fully, and there will be no compromise on that.
The Defence Research and Development Organization DRDO successfully test-fired the extended-range version of the indigenously developed Pinaka rocket from a multi-barrel rocket launcher at Integrated Test Range Chandipur off the coast of Odisha. 25 enhanced Pinaka rockets were launched in quick succession against targets at different ranges. All the mission objectives were met during the launches. Defence Minister Ramnath has congratulated DRDO and the industry on the successful launch of enhanced Pinaka rockets and 122mm caliber rockets. Minister for Port, Shipping and Waterways Mansukh Mandavia has said the advanced seafarer wellness centres will be provided at all ports in the country. He said the government has planned in Maritime Vision 2030 for raising the number of seafarers to about 5 lakhs in the next 10 years. The minister stated this during virtual celebration of Day of the Seafarer 2021 today. Mr. Mandavia also wished that the share of the women seafarers will be increased and the maritime training institutes in India will be prepared to impart the best training to the seafarers considering the new challenges in the shipping sector. The minister mentioned that the government has created a fund for the welfare of seafarers.
In Jammu and Kashmir, Director Tourism Kashmir held a detailed interactive session with tour operators from Canada through a webinar yesterday and presented to them a host of tourism products available in the Union Territory. The webinar was organized by the Consulate General of India in Toronto, in which tour travel operators of Canada participated. More from our Srinagar correspondent.
During the interactive session, Director Tourism Kashmir Dr. Ghulam Nabi Uttu made a detailed presentation detailing the services, products, places and types of tourism available to incoming tourists in Kashmir. The tour operators exhibited keen interest in the tourism products and inquired about related issues like COVID protocols, seasons to visit, itinerary, etc. The program was a part of the campaign launched by the Union Ministry of Tourism to boost the arrival of foreign tourists in Kashmir once the international tourism opens. Sunil Kohl, AIR News, Srinagar.
India and China have agreed on the need to find an early resolution to the remaining issues along the LAC in eastern Ladakh, keeping in view the agreement reached between the foreign ministers of the two countries last year. In this regard, the two sides agreed to maintain dialogue and communication through the diplomatic and military mechanisms to reach a mutually acceptable solution for complete disengagement from all friction points. During the 22nd meeting of the Working Mechanism for Consultation and Coordination on India-China Border Affairs yesterday, they also agreed that in the interim, the two sides will continue to ensure stability on the ground and prevent any untoward incident.
The Financial Action Task Force FATF has retained Pakistan on its grey list. It means no respite for the nation as it looks for financial aid amid the pandemic. In the virtual session in Paris that started on 21st June and concluded yesterday, the Global Terror Financing Watchdog reviewed the Asia-Pacific Group's report on Pakistan's compliance with its prescribed action items. FATF has recommended a list of measures for Pakistan to stop money laundering and terror financing in the nation. Pakistan was put on the FATF grey list 3 years ago and has been trying since to get out of this list. On to some sports news now. Defending Wimbledon women's champion Simona Halep of Romania has withdrawn from this year's Wimbledon due to a calf injury. The 29-year-old world number 3 player suffered a tear in her left calf during her second round match against Germany's Angelique Kerber at the Italian Open in Rome in mid-May. She was also forced to withdraw from the French Open following that injury. Halep had won the Wimbledon in 2019, but it was cancelled in 2020 due to corona pandemic.
In the Eurocup football, Wales and Denmark go head-to-head in the opening match of Euro 2020 round of 16 tie in Amsterdam today. A total of 16 teams have progressed to the pre-quarterfinal stage or round 16. The teams are Wales, Denmark, Italy, Austria, Netherlands, Czech Republic, Belgium, Portugal, Croatia, Spain, France, Switzerland, England, Germany, Sweden and Ukraine. There will be 2 matches tomorrow, with Italy pitched against Austria and the Netherlands pitted against the Czech Republic. With 28 days to go for Tokyo Olympic Games, All India Radio will take a look at the face of India's women pugilist Lavlina Borgohain, who will be competing in 69 kg weight category at the Tokyo Olympics.
Born on October 2, 1997 in Golaghat, Assam, Lavlina started her sporting career as a kickboxer along with her siblings. While her twin elder sisters Licha and Lima went on to compete on the national level in kickboxing, Lavlina decided to switch to boxing. The 23-year-old first hogged the spotlight with a bronze medal in 2017 Asian Championship. Lavlina was bestowed with the Arjuna Award by the Indian government for her service to the nation. Lavlina bagged her maiden Olympic berth as she toppled Uzbekistan's Maftuna Khan Melieva in the quarterfinals of the Asian Olympic qualifiers. She has been putting in a lot of work ahead of the Tokyo Olympics and is determined to win her maiden international gold medal.
इतना बड़ा कंपटीशन है, हर तरफ से परफेक्ट होके जाना पड़ेगा. थोड़ा सा इनसाइड खेलने की भी कोशिश कर रही हूँ. कभी-कभी तो ऐसा बॉक्सर आ सकता है जिसके साथ मैं इनसाइड खेलना पड़ेगा. बॉक्सिंग में अभी तक गोल्ड मेडल नहीं लगा है ओलंपिक में. अगर मैं बन पाऊंगी तो मेरे लिए भी बहुत बड़ी बात होगी और मेरे फैमिली के लिए भी और मेरे देश के लिए.
Sports Desk, AIN News.
And now let us take a look at the weather forecast for the day. In the national capital, Delhi, we may witness a generally cloudy sky with light rain or drizzle. Mumbai will have a generally cloudy sky with moderate rain. Chennai will see generally cloudy sky with moderate rain. Kolkata will see a partly cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers.
And now an overview of today's newspapers. The Pioneer quotes the government as saying that the second wave is not over. 75 districts still have 10% COVID prevalence. 51 Delta plus cases across 12 states, 2 in Punjab, 1 Haryana, headlines the Tribune. The Asian Age reports the number as 48. The Indian Express reports that this variant is now in 174 districts. Hospital body on verge of deal with Johnson & Johnson for 1-dose vax supply from July, writes the Economic Times. The government says Covishield and Covaxin work against COVID Alpha, Beta, Gamma and Delta variants, reports the Statesman. Centre offers tax relief and treatment for COVID, reports Business Standard. CBSE optional exams in August, writes The Hindu. The paper quotes the Education Minister as saying that Class 10 and 12 students unhappy with assessment formula can take it. Pak fails to get out of FATF's grey list, reports Hindustan Times. Quoting the first global source apportionment study, the Times of India reports home emissions cause 25% pollution deaths. And in some heartening news, a male tiger brings up 4 cubs after the death of their mother tigress in Panna Tiger Reserves, writes Hindustan Times.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Centre asks 7 states and Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir to step up containment measures to prevent spread of Delta plus variant of corona. More than 31.43 crore doses of COVID vaccine administered in the country so far. The recovery rate improves to 96.7%. Supreme Court panel says Delhi government inflated oxygen demand 4 times during peak of second wave of COVID-19. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to share his thoughts in Mann Ki Baat program at 11 a.m. tomorrow. Government extends deadline for linking of PAN with Aadhaar till 30th of September. Government launches e-filing portal of Income Tax Appellate Tribunal. ITAT Eidwar. DRDO successfully test fires enhanced Pinaka rocket off Odisha coast. Pakistan continues to be on grey list of anti-terror financial watchdog FATF. Simona Halep of Romania withdraws from this year's Wimbledon tennis due to calf injury. And in Eurocup football, Wales to take on Denmark in opening match of knockout stage today. For details of these stories and more, log on to our website www.newsonair.com and News on AIR app. And with that, we end the morning news. Have a nice day.